Hey, what is up guys? So I got something cool to share with you, and it's using a Odd Eyes Magician deck. Now, this deck is actually super consistent at pulling it off, but it does take a few turns. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and let the replay play out really quick, and then I'm going to go ahead and explain what the heck exactly is going on. For the most part, I won't really explain the despots. Basically, one can add another one to your hand. With Machine Dupe, it can get pretty nasty. There's also a new card that's pretty cool in here, and it can show you the potential that this card has. Especially in this Pendulum Magician deck. And like I said, it is a pretty consistent deck. It just does take a few turns to set up because you're going to need your Odd Eyes to go to the graveyard, and you know, with that effect, it's kind of nice to have extra buck because you're going to go ahead and abuse that effect anyways. And on top of that, you also have this card called, well, it's called Insight Magician. Kind of went way too fast. It works pretty well with extra buck. You can see he's playing multiple of them because it does work pretty well in this deck. And he's actually going to be able to do a 21,000 OTK here. Not that, you know, you really need that, but it's just kind of cool that in tag duels you could still finish off your opponent. The 21,000 is actually dealt by inflict. Well, in this particular scenario, it was 21,000 because he was able to destroy 3 monsters, so his opponent took 3,000. Each of these monsters can attack 3 times. It does require them to have more monsters, but it's kind of irrelevant anyways because at non-tag duel they only have 8,000 anyways. But maybe if you're playing Auro Mages, you might need that extra DPS. But anyways, let's go and break it down and kind of explain things a little bit more for you guys so you guys can maybe understand how the deck works. So let's go ahead and do that. So we'll go ahead and pop up the replay again. So basically this card really helps out the deck with consistency. It's called Fusion Conscription. You can only use one of them per turn, but what it's to do is actually add Odd Eyes from your deck to your hand. And that way you can go ahead and place one there immediately, and then you get your searches out for Insight Magician, which is then going to give you extra searches. So you can see there's a lot of searching in this deck. That's why it's super consistent, but again, that's why it does take a few turns to set up. I'd say like 2 to 3 turns, and you'd be good to go. You have a few cards you can throw out that can just die, and it doesn't matter. Like, you know, a lot of these other cards that just need to be in the extra deck anyways. So it's nice that he was able to crash and still get another card for the extra buck, because this card I think is really abusable in this deck. It is a trap, so it's a little bit slower. If it was a spell, I think this card would be just so much better. And I wish you could have like more counters on it, but anyways, it's still pretty good. I mean, a lot of the cards that give you draw power right now are nerfed from the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! But anyways, so Insight Magician, let's go ahead and go over the effect of this card because you just used it. So this has a really good pendulum effect. It makes it so if you control another Magician or Performer POW card in your other pendulum zone, you can destroy this card. If you do, place 1 Magician Pendulum monster from your deck in your pendulum zone except for the same copy of itself. So he actually completed his pendulum skill by using 2 of them. Obviously that'd be bad, but he's able to pop it anyways. And there's no limit to how many of these you can use per turn, so you can basically thin your deck out pretty well with the Insight Magician. And then he's going to go ahead and place Destruction Magician over here, which has the effect once per turn you can target 1 Xyz monster you control. This turn it gains this effect. You can activate this card's effect, XYZ summon a monster using this card as material. So he's going to activate the effect of extra buck to draw 2 more cards. Reckless Greed's going to give him an additional 2 cards. He's activating the effect of Insight Magician again. I know it's showing Destruction Magician, but this is the card that he's activating once again, because that was the one on the right. Now he's going to go ahead and make Creation Magician. So Creation Magician's effect is that once per turn you target 1 XYZ monster you control and 1 level 5 or higher monster you control. The rank of that XYZ monster becomes the same level as that level 5 or higher monster until the end of this turn. If you control more cards than your opponent, this card's pendulum skill becomes 4. So he's going to go ahead and actually pendulum summon now, and he's going to go ahead and bust out his monsters here. So with the addition with Polymerization, he's able to bring out this card, even though it's unnecessary. Proj mentioned this when he sent me in this replay. I think he showed me this before when I was playing Lightsworn. He basically said you really just need to bust out this card, and then obviously from there you're going to destroy a bunch of stuff your opponent's going to have, and then from there you're just going to go ahead and attack multiple times anyways. This is just icing on the cake, and it's completely unnecessary. He's absorbing some damage, and if you're wondering why doesn't he absorb the Machina Fortress, well, Machina Fortress has the effect if you're going to target it, your Machina Fortress can activate the effect. You like look at your opponent's hand and you discard 1 card from their hand. Not that he really like needed to negate that effect. He's just doing it more optimally, which is I guess better. So he's gonna go ahead and bust out the Odd Eyes Rebellion Dragon here because he's able to change the levels. Or pendulum, not the pendulum scales, but yeah, you get the idea. So anyways, it requires 2 level 7 dragon monsters. He's able to do that relatively easy, as you can see from pendulum summoning a bunch of monsters. So Odd Eyes has the effect that when you pendulum summon it, if you can pendulum summon level 7, wait, hold on, sorry. It's, let's go to its actual effect. Okay, if this card is XYZ summoned by using XYZ monsters as any of its material, which one of them was, which was the dark, can I click view? Oh, it was the Rebellion Dragon anyways. But you destroy as many level 7 or lower monsters your opponent controls, which usually is most stuff in the game, except for like, you know, big boss monsters. And then your opponent your opponent takes 1,000 damage for each monster destroyed by this effect, and it can also make up to 3 attacks during each battle phase. And this card in the monster zone is destroyed by battle. This turn, you can destroy all cards in your pendulum zone, and if you do place this card in your pendulum zone. So that card pretty much wins it on its own. This card can also attack 3 times because it requires Odd Eyes plus, and it's like a magician. It's Odd Eyes plus 1 spellcaster type monster. So he used, I want to say, okay, there it is. It's Dragon Pit Magician. So he used a level 5 or higher monster, so we're going to apply that effect. So it has 2 different effects. If it's 4 or lower, this card can make 2 attacks on monsters during each battle phase. And if you're using a 5 or higher, this card can make up to 3 attacks on monsters during each battle phase. And during the turn this card was fusion summoned using a pendulum summon monster as its fusion material, it's unaffected by your opponent's card effects. So there's extra protection in this play. So like I said, guys, it's a pretty consistent deck, but the problem is you're going to have to wait. In some decks, they just don't give you that chance to wait. So I think this could be a very strong deck if the meta gets a little bit slower. But with so many people playing mistakes and like they're stopping you from searching, and also, what is it? Shared Right can also be a card that can counter some things because they're just going to OTK you at that point. But yeah, that's a pretty cool deck. Thank you, Prod, for sharing this with us. But yeah, after this, he's just going to go ahead and attack multiple times. Well, he only needs to attack once with this. This can attack 3 times directly. This can only attack monsters, but it's kind of irrelevant because you're popping all the monsters anyways. So, pretty cool. Thanks, Prod, for sending this in. And thanks for watching, guys. Or if you guys have any suggestions to make this deck faster, I'd like to know, because I think this deck, like I said, it's pretty good, especially if you're busting out this card that can protect itself, basically. I was thinking about somehow giving my opponent some monsters that had like 0. That way it can attack, and even if your opponent doesn't have anything, you can still make a game. That'd be pretty cool too. But anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Asian Eyes, signing out.